Hello, everybody. All right, I'm Chuck Cafaro. I'm been a longtime friend, my wife Judy, with Mike and Donna Barnes, and I'm really honored that Donna asked me to get this celebration of Mike Barnes' wonderful life kicked off. I'd like to say a few things. We have a free bar over here with anything you want. We'd like you to order through the servers that are walking around. Scott, Michelle, a few others. So order through them if you could. Thank you. I'd also like to say this is being videotaped. And for some people that aren't here, I'd like to mention Mike's West Coast family, his daughter Leslie, her husband Tom Klein, and their children Alexis and TJ. Also, Donna's brother, Alan Kathman, and his family live in Charlotte, North Carolina. And they're watching as well. And Alan has made a wonderful tribute video of his own, which will be attached to this video at the end, and they'll both be available on Facebook and YouTube as soon as possible. Okay, so we're going to kick this thing off with a musical tribute. Mike's favorite band, the Harmonics, Pam King and Joe, and they're going to start with a great Fleetwood Mac tune, Landslide.
Check 1, 2.
Try not to feedback. It's probably going to happen.
All right. How you guys doing out there? All right, you're there. Somebody's there. Can you guys hear okay? Is that loud enough? All right, ready? Took my love, took it down. Climbed the mountain and I turned around. Hold on. Sorry. Check, check, check. Sorry, guys. Check 1, 2. Okay, hopefully it's loud enough. took it down. I climbed the mountain and I turned around. And I saw my reflection in snow-covered hills, till the landslide brought me down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can this child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tide? Can I handle the seasons of my life? Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. Well, time makes you older, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Changing, 'cause I built my life around you. But time makes you older, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Oh, I'm getting older too. Took my love, took it down. And I turned around and I saw my reflection in snow-covered hills, till the landslide brought me down. And if you see my reflection in snow-covered hills, Mikey, will the landslide bring me down? Well, how the landslide bring you down? Thank you. For Mike. She was pretty. Did you say that she loved you? Baby, I don't wanna know. I begin not to love you. Turn around, see me running. I said I love you years ago. Tell myself you never loved me. No. Did you say she was pretty? Did you say that she loved you? Baby, I don't wanna know. Oh no. Can you tell me, was it worth it? Really, I sound of my voice will haunt you. You'll never get away from the sound of a woman that loves you. I'll follow you down till the sound of my voice will haunt you. Was it just a fool? You'll never get away from the sound of a woman that loves you. Was it just a fool? I'll follow you down till the sound of my voice will haunt you. Give me just a chance. You'll never get away from the sound. Never get away. Never get away. You could be my silver spring, blue-green colors flashing. That was a jazzy version. We got too much feedback. All right, let's. Anybody wants to speak? We're gonna. We could play one. We'll see you. No, I just.
Well, that was fantastic. We have some other people that couldn't be here today, some very close friends of Mike and Donna, Greg and Sonia Smith. And in their absence, Kay Bowen is going to come up and give a tribute that Greg wrote to Mike. Come up, Kay. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Greg and Sonia Smith could not be here today in body, but their love and heart are certainly here. I am honored to read Greg's personal tribute for Mike. He entitled it, Cry. As a young boy, like most of us, we were taught not to cry. Suck it up, life goes on, be a man. As life goes on, you understand that there are good times and bad that can cause you to cry. Some good times for me, when I proposed to Sonia and she said yes. When my two boys were born and grew up and left the nest. That's twice. My beloved Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Then there are the bad times. My brother passing, Sonia's father passing, dogs I have lost. But the things in between, I sucked it up like a man. When Mike Barnes passed, I cried and cried hard. Mike was not only a great friend, but a mentor and a father figure. He was a great husband, father, and grandfather. His qualities are endearing as being kind, generous, funny, honorary, sometimes bossy, but all in all, his heart was always to protect his family and have fun with his friends. As things go on and the sadness wanes, I now know of all the great times and memories we all had with Mike, but I still cry thinking of those great times. We love you, Mike Barnes. I know you are up there playing handball with Buzz and walking Sunny every morning. I love you, my friend, Greg Smith. And this is my husband, Tim O'Grady. Is that okay, Chuck? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm an unscheduled speaker, but I just wanted to tell you a hat story. About 8 years ago, my brother who lives in New York, he gave me this hat, and it was brand new, handmade in 1946 by a hat maker in Yonkers, New York. I don't wear it very often, but one day I wore it to a celebration that Mike was part of, and he loved this hat. And he said, I want it. I said, Mike, I would give it to you, but it doesn't fit, and plus it has the memories of my brother who had passed inside of it. I'm wearing it today to hold the memories of Mike.
Okay, this mic is going to be up here all day, so if any of you want to come up later and share a few stories, personal experiences you had with Mike, please do. But I'm going to hold the mic for about 10 minutes and give you my perspective. There was no more gregarious, people-loving person than Mike, whether he's holding high court from the sofa in his kitchen to walking these trails with his dogs. But I'm going to go back and honor him with something you might not know. This was a highly intelligent man. In addition to a couple of undergraduate degrees, he had an academic PhD from Case Western Reserve. That's one of the greatest universities in the United States. He was a fantastic engineer and businessman, and he had an intuitive ability to build anything with his hands, from his engineering systems to all the homes he rehabbed. And you know, if he was still here, Donna would have 2 or 3 more rooms onto her house that she absolutely did not need. He was just a great guy like that. In that context of business, I'm going to read a tribute that was written to him, written to Donna, by a foreign exchange student that lived with Mike when he was in high school, and then later was hired by Mike in 1994 in his engineering firm. And it's from a guy named John Van Oostrum, and he's from Holland. And I'm going to read this.
You mean help you hold the pen?
Dear Donna, Mike was such a kind and warm person, full of imagination, always creating something special. Due to him, I had a great time in an exchange student in 1987, and then in 1994 when he took me in as an intern. I remember how emotional my departure after the exchange year was, and how I came close to taking opportunities then and later to stay in the United States and shape my life there. Mike was a father to me. He changed my life, and he would have had great times together, I'm sure. And although I've had a good life in a different place, I will always feel sorry for not having had more of our lives shared between us. Wishing you great strength, John Van Oostrum. Okay, let's get back to the fun side of Mike. You know, he had a fun switch. He switched it on at any time. I don't care if he was talking about some fantastic engineering thing he did. My wife Judy and I, who's up here, got to travel the world with Mike and Donna. We cruised New Zealand, Australia, Scandinavia, the Danube a few years ago. For my last birthday, we did the Colorado Rockies from the Calgary Stampede up to Alberta. And we live in Arizona, and every time Mike came out, He-Man that he was, he wanted to do something adventurous and strenuous. And we did. He and I climbed mile-high mountains, took long hikes, and my greatest memory was on my 60th birthday, he and I descended into the Grand Canyon. We did a 15-mile round trip on a hot July day. And he and I hung our legs over the Colorado River and had lunch. And then it was the most grueling, strenuous walk out of the canyon ever. But we made it. Donna and Judy met us at the top because they had also a strenuous day at the resort bar. And that leads me to what I really want to talk about, Mike's best attributes. Mike had a lot of pain sometimes, you know. Some were just normal internal things he suffered with, and some were self-inflicted with all the construction projects he had, you know, taped ribs, bandaged ankles, you name it. And through all these adventures, Mike's greatest quality is he never winced, he never complained. I mean, he put one foot in front of the other, head down. He was the Energizer Bunny personified. And that was his greatest qualities, his persistence and tenacity. And you know, if you have those two qualities, you can overcome any of life's challenges. And I've got a lot of elderly friends, as we all do, and they're all getting ailments, and I see them want to quit. You know, they want to quit golf, they want to quit going out. They just want to quit. And I have sat down with many of them and I've said, I want to tell you about this guy now named Mike Barnes. He never quit. And I love you for it. Thanks.
Like I said, the mic's up here.
As you can tell, I wore these glasses for a reason. If anybody wants to come up and tell a story, some little fun thing you did with Mike here in Loveland or anywhere else in the world, take your time. We're here for a couple hours. This mic's going to sit right here. So come on up.
Hi, my name's Joe Schickel, and this is my wife Susie Schickel, and we are Mike and Donna's two houses down neighbors for the last, I think, 11 or 12 years.
And we have our little neighborhood is a porch sitting neighborhood or a backyard sitting neighborhood. So our kids grew up knowing that there were a lot of people watching them. And one important person was Mike Barnes. So Mike was like an uncle to them, I think, sort of, and we loved seeing him every day walk by with Sonny and then Shadow. And our oldest son, Will, is 29 and is now a father of two, and when he heard that Mike passed away, he wrote this to us.
Dear Mike, you will always be my salty mentor. Thank you for taking the time to guide a young neighbor finding his way in the world. My kids will grow up hearing stories about Mr. Barnes. Hopefully your lessons will resonate as well with them as they did with me. Lesson number 1, keep moving. It's better to have a great story filled with errors than a boring one. Lesson number 2, love life. It's too short to not enjoy a drink with your friends. Lesson 3, work hard. You don't have to be the strongest or the smartest, but be the guy who can get the job done. Lesson 4, know your best, do your best, let the cards fall where they will. We love you, Mike. I'm raising a glass to you now. Love, Will, Hillary, Riley, and Griffin.
So to Mike.
Hello? My name's Gary Cooper, friend of Mike and Donna. And the story I want to tell is when Mike and I were putting in outdoor lighting at his house, we ordered the lights online, and he gave me the credit card, and I looked at the credit card, and it said Paul Douglas Barnes. And I said, hey Mike, what's this? He said, what? And I said, Paul Douglas Barnes. So Mike told me a story. He said, I guess his dad was off at war and his mom was going to have the baby. So she had the baby, and Mike's grandmother, the nurse asked Mike's grandmother, she said, what are they going to name the baby? And Mike's grandmother loved Paul Douglas, the actor. If you know Paul Douglas, the actor. So she said, we're going to name him Paul Douglas Barnes. So they named him that. And then when Mike's dad got back from the war, he came home and they said, well, we've named him Paul Douglas Barnes. And Mike's dad said, you know, I don't care what you name him, but we're going to call him Mike. Mike was a great guy. I loved him.
I'd just like to tell everybody that Mike's urn is in a chair next to the fireplace with a glass of vodka next to it and some popcorn on the ground, of which he left a lot of trails around Loveland. So I believe Shadows had a little popcorn. So go over there and say hi to Mike.
Camped. Are you guys going to sing? God, I haven't had a picture of you two yet. Act like you should
Check 1, 2.
Okay. I'm going to say you can range around him without
Yeah, I know, because we think he might have had it back in January. I slept with him, and so I got it. I know, but see, that turned me on. That turned me on. Here, yeah, I'll put my finger.
You're awesome. This is why I love you. Ready? You're amazing.
Okay.
Timmy, are you going to speak again?
What time is it?
No. It is. Oh, shit, I don't know. I can't.
Oh, that's
That's not really important, is it?
I think it's 10. Oh, wow.
Hello? Hey, just a short comment. Scott, David, and Natasha from the Works up there. They've got pizzas they're putting on the table. Please enjoy. And there's other things too. I don't know what. There's other things.
It's very terrific. Very good.
Stop it.
Mike Barnes spread a lot of joy. Can anybody think about Mike for more than a moment or two and not smile? He was that kind of guy. The type of person who makes you happier, even while they're beating you at handball, or spades, or golf. He had that air about him. I said once, even as he's aging, Mike behaves as though life is to be lived every moment and never watched. He was always invested in the activity and not the outcome. There's a real brilliance to that. He could bring his best to an activity and not worry about how it was going to end up. He refused to let a vague future obscure a meaningful present. And that's a great lesson. That kind of positive energy is contagious. You could be a friend for 40 years or the checkout clerk at Kroger, but you were usually smiling after an encounter with Mike. Mike Barnes spread a lot of joy. When Mike was first dating Donna, Mom would smile, even while she was listing all of his shortcomings and shaking her head. Mom came around. She came around watching Mike's effect on Donna. Here was this highly educated and successful guy who had built his own business, but he was smitten. He flirted, he cajoled, he even flattered a little. But Mike's eyes sought out Donna every time he entered a room. Mike also respected Donna as a peer and later as a partner. He worked hard on that give and take, that balance that makes a marriage strong. Mike loved Donna. He loved her. And he did so in a way that brought the rest of us who love her a lot of joy. Mike's partnership brought out Donna's innate strengths, her confidence, her sense of fairness, her patience, her cheerfulness, and her inner resilience. For 30 years, as a team, they had good times and they had their fair share of challenges. And through it all, they were stronger people and they were a stronger marriage. There's another great lesson in that. And in the summer of 2020, when the pain of cancer was battering Mike, his eyes still sought out Donna whenever he entered a room. Mike Barnes spread a lot of joy. It's almost primal, but a man seeks to leave his mark on the world. And they can do that in so many ways. Their handiwork may bring joy to the people who live in a place where they once lived. A business they built may employ people. Efforts they support may feed thousands, or monuments they raise might inspire generations. A man leaves his mark on the world in other ways. It can be the lessons they taught us or showed us, the memories they gave us, or the simple example of how they lived each day. These are the marks that Mike left on the world that mean the most to me. Mike lived each moment, and he lived it to the fullest. Mike kept a generosity of spirit throughout his life that colored every encounter. And Mike cherished his spouse. And he did so in a way that reminded us that love, like flowers, should be fresh each and every day. I honor Mike for those marks he left on the world, the marks he left in my heart. Thank you, Mike, for the joy you spread there.